I think we're live. We should be live. We're
I'm just trusting you. So
you're also rocking a new hat, it looks like.
yeah, I I had a birthday over the weekend, and this was one of my gifts. Is a Clippers hat with a logo you don't have to like fucking cringe to see because it's
Yeah, I like that
simple.
logo.
Yeah, it's a LAC.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to like have some bullshit about the C embracing the LA all the fucking media buzzwords that came about with that horrible new logo they have.
Yeah. Well, that's what's funny is sports teams can't just say like, "Oh, we wanted to sell more merchandise," so they have to come up with some like bullshit backstory to their new logo. Yeah,
Yeah.
Crew did
It-
that, and I like the Crew's new logo, but it still was a bunch of crap behind it. Like,
well, yeah, because they like the Clippers update was so especially bad about that because like there wasn't one goddamn thing like boat related in their entire rebrand. And then they like just made up some shit about how like the curved lines under the logo signify like the horizon or some shit. And like no it doesn't. That's just a curved line.
besides, you're not the Los Angeles Horizons. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
well, we're the Clippers, so we thought a starfish would be a good logo because
Yeah,
water.
yeah. So somebody actually dug into that. Not to start our video game podcast with
Yes, sir.
basketball trivia, but like the Clippers have this horrible new logo, horrible new uniforms, and they changed their court to have like a black outline. And I guess like the person in charge of like who headed up like really wanted the goddamn overhaul and wanted it fast, wanted it in a year because no good stuff happens in a year, even though I could make a better fucking logo and uniform in a day. Um, like I guess she would just really wanted to like she likes the Miami Heat uniforms and color schemes of all things. Like
Okay.
it's like go then go fucking work for them.
All
Like
right.
don't give the Clippers a black alternate, you fucking crazy
Oh, speaking. Well,
asshole.
yeah. I guess we can start with sports ball because we're already into it. The NFL kicked off this week, and I thought I was watching like fucking Tecmo Super Bowl or something. Between, I'm a Browns fan, but I even as a Browns fan, I cannot remotely justify our new uniforms. They are ugly as hell.
Well,
Like,
they're worse when you wear matching socks.
it's just
See,
all like, here's some bright orange pants and the orange helmet's the orange helmet. We've had it, but then we'll go like the darkest possible brown that we can, and then so like your TV like color bleeds all over the place because bright reds and oranges do that on TV, and it's like you're watching an old Nintendo game. And then of course you
yeah.
have the Niners and their black and red uniforms. I've
Fucking
heard some people, yeah,
terrible.
there was some people out there like, I like it. I love black and red. It's retro. Bring it on. I'm like, but
It's not retro because they're retro. Their uniforms are retro.
right. And you
Like they have a classic
and
design.
you could probably get away with the black with the red lettering if they did just at least like a moderate like gold trim around the letters. But
Something you got to do
yeah,
something. You
because that
can't just
red's too dark to have on a black uniform. Then it just
they
looks
just look yeah they just look like the Oregon State Beavers. Like which hey go fucking Big Teeth whatever.
yeah.
But uh yeah they those were terrible. Football
Football
was
and yeah,
terrible.
in general, just across the board.
It went bad for I think it went bad for
Most of the
every me and everyone I know.
well, most of the people, even if you had a team that won, your team won an ugly fucking game that had no
Exactly.
concern. Right.
Like
So
my brother is a 49ers fan and he's like and I even asked him like if what if somehow the 49ers won the Super Bowl in those black jerseys? And I asked him would that be a real Super Bowl for you? And he like paused for a second and then he's like no.
yeah, the problem is every picture you would see, they'd be like hoisting the trophy in those butt ugly black uniforms.
Yeah,
But
like to
then,
him that
not
that
just
would be almost worse.
aesthetically, but like, of course, famously they've been talking all week on the radio about the Giants and Cowboys game, which sucks because I hate the Cowboys and I have so many friends that are Cowboys fans. And the Giants had that in the fucking bag, and I was like literally like getting to my laptop to go just like make fun of all them. And then they pull the Seahawks and just completely fuck up the last minute and a half of the game. And
that was so fucking funny.
But even as a Dallas fan, it's not like it's like, yeah, well, some of them were like, hell yeah, we won. It's like, you shouldn't have.
Well, I mean, those are division rival teams for me, right. So like I don't really care who wins or loses, and I figured Dallas was going to win. Like I don't rely on upsets anymore. Like I just assume, like, of course Dallas is going to beat the Giants because Eli Manning is going to tell his guy not to run into a touchdown. And he's also
even that would have worked. The ball away. Right. That's it was just and then after those two terrible decisions, not to take anything away from the guy, even though I don't like him, but how do you let Tony Romo march down the field like that with no timeouts? Like, do something.
Tony Romo gets a bad rep, but he's done that enough recently that I'm a believer that he's actually pretty good.
I think my complaint with him is that he's good but inconsistent, and if you want to have like
he's inconsistent, but I'm talking specifically like those last minute drives. Mm-hmm. Like he can get the fucking ball downfield really quick.
And I kind of wonder if that indicates that he like gets in his own head too much. When you're fast, when you're going under that 2-minute drill and going fast, you don't have time to really think. You just kick in.
Yeah.
But who knows? We're not sports analysts.
Not yet. We're
podcast,
working on it.
Yeah. We keep talking about rebranding the podcast. We'll just call it the Enjoy Ball Podcast.
Love balls.
Or the Ballcast. But we probably would get a lot of views as the Ballcast, but they'd be disappointed.
Love Ball Radio. Yeah,
video games. You can't put Metal Gear down, can you?
Dude, I'm at I think Steam says I'm at. I can check. That's the beauty of this
new setup.
It's a new setup, and new setup I mean competent hardware. 41 hours. I'm at 24% of that game. And
now, to point out though that it seems to take into account all the extras in that percentage, so it doesn't necessarily mean you're a quarter through the story.
It doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't mean that, but I'm still very early in the story. And we'll talk about it. We need to.
Yeah, we need another spoiler cast.
Yeah, we'll do another episode of that.
And then you'll be pissed because you'll have all the stuff you want to talk about, and I'm way behind you. But
yeah, but I basically can. This is a spoiler, and if it is, it's a good one. I just sort of finished up everything in Afghanistan, and so now I'm in Africa.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that. I didn't follow the game that closely in development, so I don't know a whole lot about it other than like playing it now. And then I started seeing, because it seemed like every screenshot I would see was Afghanistan. Right. And then all of a sudden I'm like, wait a second, he's in the fucking jungle. That looks awesome. So like,
yeah,
I can't
I was so excited because I didn't know that was the case at all. Like, if it had been just more desert, like it probably would have gotten pretty samey, but at the time I didn't care because I'm enjoying it so much.
Right.
But the fact that they now there's this whole new chunk of map to explore, and it's swampy and it's wet, and you still have that same it's kind of weird because you start the game and you feel kind of helpless, and then you build up this progression. And now in Afghanistan, I'm a fucking ace. I have every resource I need to handle Afghanistan perfectly. But now I'm back at square one a little bit, where it's fuck, I need an interpreter. I don't know what they're saying.
That was really cool to me how the start of the game, and it confused me. And I'm starting to see why people love Kojima, because he'll just unabashedly do this stuff. But in the options, I always turn closed captioning on because I don't have, have some hearing loss, and I don't hear real well. And sometimes with dialogue, the volume levels and stuff aren't done real well either. And I don't want to miss story. So anyway, we've talked about that before. I always have captions on. But when you go to the options to turn captions on, it gives you options to turn captions on for just foreign languages and or for like all speech. So I turned it to all. So then I'm thinking like, oh, when it says just like foreign speak, I'm thinking they mean like, oh, if somebody's speaking in German, you'll hear the German, but it'll give you what they're saying. But it doesn't.
No.
Not until you've captured a interpreter for your Intel team, which I think is a really cool touch. It's a minor thing, but it's really cool.
So yeah, I've been playing a lot of that. I just, and there's other shit I need to be playing. Like I really need to finish up what I need to do in Mega Man Legacy. Of course, I got sick, so that kind of halted the streams there for a little bit. And now I got fucking Mario Maker, like right next to me all the time, and I like that game is really cool. But Metal Gear Solid 5 is better.
That's what was funny
so
when you got
really
Mario Maker. I'm like, okay, that'll slow him down some because you seemed really high on it when you. It looked like you played it when you got it, the day you got it.
Yeah, I've been playing it a little bit every day.
Right.
Just not really enough. Like, and it feels like I'm still waiting to sort of sink my teeth into it. And this is kind of an interesting thing because we were talking about that a few weeks ago. Like, they were doing this thing where, as I'm dropping shit, they were doing this thing where you were going to steadily unlock everything
Right.
over the course of like, I think they had like 9 days or something. And I was actually kind of looking forward to that because I'm always overwhelmed by content creating stuff in games. And like, it seemed like a good way to sort of ease people in. Now that I'm actually playing it, like that seems like a real bad mistake on their part. Like, I guess I underestimated just how much, like, how familiar I was with Mario, and how much I would want like all the tools I know because I've been fucking playing them for years, and so I know I want bullet bills. Like, just let me have them. Like, don't make me have to earn them. And that's something they did to try to like change that up, is like you can unlock it steadily over the course of those days, or you can just use enough blocks. If you play it enough, you'll eventually get everything early. But I don't really know how that's working because it feels really random to me still. Like, I still get stuff early, but it's like, okay, do I just like fucking scroll blocks everywhere so it thinks that I used a bunch of them and then I get the delivery? Because I've had that and it worked, and then there's been times I did that for a long fucking time and nothing happened.
Well, they're onto your tricks. They're like, you little shit, we're not gonna let you cheat.
Well, goddamn it, I need a thwomp. and then
on the one hand, my guess to why Nintendo wanted to like have a game, I mean, part of it's that hook. They want to get people to continue playing it instead of make like one level and then be done. But I don't think that was going to be an issue anyway. My guess was always that it had to do with the younger gamers. They felt like, oh, if we give everybody everything up front, that could be overwhelming. So we'll like introduce this mechanic to just like slowly introduce the blocks, but I don't think that was necessary either.
I think they could have done it a better way if that was all sort of just optional. Like, they give you everything, but then they like kind of give you a guide mode where it's like, here's your day one resources, make a level just using these, and then day two, and it's all like it can all be suggestive. Like, the game comes with a guidebook, but it doesn't tell you shit. It just shows you stuff you could make. So, like, if you're going to do that anyway, why not a little bit of guidance?
Yeah. But it could be worse. It could be Electronic Arts Mario Maker, where it's 99 cents per block you want to use and, like, type. Yeah. Or, you know, you can unlock them all for the low price of $79.99 on top of the cost of the game. But what I'm trying to say is EA is terrible.
Exactly. And they need to know that at every opportunity. But that being said, like, the game is really cool. Like, I haven't really, because I've been slowly unlocking resources and I've been just obsessed with my progress in Metal Gear. Like, that's the weird thing. Like, Mario Maker's taken forever to let me like have a goddamn block, while Metal Gear Solid 5 is giving me the ability to fucking haul off tanks in a balloon now. Like, so one of these games is saying all the right things to me right now, and it's not Mario.
I love that Fulton balloon thing, and
I love that now I have it at a point where I can take pretty much anything that I want.
oh
like
fuck, here comes the aircraft carrier into the bay. Fulton.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of wish you could just haul off like useless shit to fuck with people, because enemies like really freak out if you take like their trucks or something while they're in them. Like they fucking lose their minds, and it's really funny. Um, but I have been trying to play Mario Maker. Like I played like a few, like I've made a few levels here and there. Like I uploaded one just to see if it would work. Not a particularly great level. Mostly because I like the games that start you out with are Super Mario Bros. And New Super Mario Bros. And those are like the two I'm least interested in making levels for. But I unlocked Mario 3 today, so maybe I'll play a little more. But then, like, surprisingly, what I find myself going back to it more is the randomness of the levels, and like 10 Mario mode and 100 Mario mode of just like, it's this like thriving just Mario level generator thing of like, I feel like playing some Mario, but I don't want to just play a Mario game. I just want to play some random ass Mario levels for a while. And like, it's surprising how enjoyable that is.
Which is funny because a lot of the talk today was around I guess it's the review or whatever, posted on the Washington Post, because that's where I go for my gaming news.
The funniest goddamn source on the internet.
Yeah. And it's like completely ripping on it. Like it's the most pointless waste of crap, and it's just a way for people to feel creative, but they're not, because people are stupid and they suck and all the levels suck and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, well, welcome to like games that let fans create content. It's like, yeah, a lot of that content is going to be bad. But
not to undercut our own jobs here, but when did a video game reviewer get the right to call anybody uncreative?
Right.
Like we're not. This is not a creative field. Like it's, and if somebody like, and not everything that's creative has to be an original work. Like creativity can come in the form of something it's just a work of fun.
One of the things that came up out of this conversation that I wholeheartedly agree with too is like, yeah, I mean, you're not going to hop on there and go to the user created levels and everything be this masterwork of art that's designed impeccably like the first Mario was or whatever, because you have people just playing around with it. They're not doing it to release a commercial game, with their levels. But you will have some, I've already seen some like just really creative, some of them are funny, some of them are just weird uses. But the biggest thing, and I saw this conversation today, any game like Mario Maker that gives the average person the tools to like create, even if you're still limited in the scope of the maker itself.
Right.
But it's an amazing tool, especially for young people that have an interest in game development.
And not even like just game development, just like it would be the same thing as saying like, why give your kids Legos? He should be using wood and a hammer.
Right.
It's not the same. Like,
oh well, every time I go to a friend's house and their kid has Legos, the houses they build are shit. So Legos obviously are stupid. Like, I mean, that's literally like the argument he's making, I guess.
Yeah.
But I want to say I got my start because I'm obviously not a thriving developer or anything, but modding games is what got me into like early coding language, and then I've learned some stuff over the years, and I haven't put any of it to professional use because that's not my aspirations. But that stuff translates to so many things, and anything that can get people interested in technology and learning how to use it and manipulate it is good. And now, I mean, that might even be overstating the importance of Mario Maker, but
well, I think it'll definitely inspire a lot of young people out there. Like, hey, this is actually really fun, and I have a knack for level design and stuff like that. But I don't think it necessarily like has to. It's what I'm saying. Like, not everything creative has to be your goddamn like lead into your profession or something. Like, I think it is good that there is a game like Mario Maker where you just exercise creative muscles. Like,
Well, and
not every painter needs to be selling paintings. Like, you just can paint. You know?
right. Well, and it came across to me more like he was pissed that anybody can paint, but now I have to go and look at all these crappy paintings. It's like, well,
Not really. Not
yeah,
really. Like, I mean,
with the rating
on certain
system,
nodes.
yeah, the rating system will work itself out. The game's still very young, so I imagine that the
Well,
content is
they
still pretty
well,
sporadic. But
there's some interesting limits. There's the rating stuff, and if you find a guy who's making good levels, you can like find them pretty easily through the course maker stuff. And I've played all of like Dan Reichert's levels over at Giant Bomb. Like he's made some really good ones. Um, and you can do it that way. There's also a 10 upload limit.
right,
So if you want to keep making levels and you want to keep putting them out there, then you're going to have to let the shitty ones go.
that's what I was going to
And
ask, and that was kind of my assumption. So you can have a maximum of 10 uploaded at any time,
you
but
can
you
have
can
10, but
pull them
it
back.
can be. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
But you can pull them back down. Like if I want to make an 11th level, I can choose one of mine to like replace it with.
Well, you have to.
Well, right, right.
But I think they're either talking about it or they already have a system in place. I haven't really, because the game's still really new. Um, I think there is something about like if a lot of people like your level, then they'll keep it up regardless. Um, but yeah, I mean, I think there are ways that kind of works itself out a little bit. Also, it's the fucking internet. It's just the aspect of every game you're gonna play is there's gonna be some garbage around it.
Right.
You can't
Except for
fucking.
Metal Gear. No garbage around that.
There might be. I've heard horror stories of people's
Yeah.
fucking bases just getting fucking ransacked
Exactly.
because people are awful and they invade their bases and they just take their shit. So yeah, that's pretty bad. But yeah, I mean, it is something you have to go into it with a little bit on the play side of Mario Maker, which is the same assholes who are fucking you over in Mario Kart and Splatoon are the same motherfuckers playing Mario Maker.
You'll load into a level and it'll just be bricks that spell out "Ben, you fucking suck at Splatoon." You'll be like, "What?"
That's what our lovely old friend who's now dearly departed, we miss you, Derek Brim. Just before he passed, he left a level, and I tried playing it yesterday, and he's a fucking psychopath. Like, and like, you know me, I've played some difficult shit in my time, and I won't even say that that his level was the hardest thing I had played, but I got to a point in it where like everything was so specific, and I finally got it down pretty sound to like get to like I don't even know how far in the level I got. I just remember I got onto this point where you're on like that bone roller coaster thing, and I rode that, and it takes you to a conveyor belt where there's just a cloud surrounded with spikes. Um, and I tried to jump into the cloud, and Mario jumped off screen, and the camera didn't follow him, and I just died to something off screen because I jumped too high. So that's when I quit, and then I was like, "Well, fuck you, Derek. Your level sucks."
So downrate it. Don't play Derek's levels.
Yeah. I can't. Unfortunately, you can't downrate it, but he did not get a star from me until I know what the fuck killed me off screen, because that was bullshit.
Derek did. He was sitting there just off the corner of the screen with, with
he
his
just
hatchet. Yeah.
he just sniped Mario from 100 yards out in all fucking quiet garb,
And he's got that spot in the woods where he likes to bury the bodies. We already know that.
and we do know that. I miss that boy.
I know.
Yeah, I hope he's all right. Hope all is well in Beardland.
Yeah. Normally when we give him shout outs on the show, we at least hear from him the next day, but
Yeah, he's just been gone.
Yeah.
Like,
He will respond if you like randomly tweet him. Just be like, "Yep, busy."
yeah, I was kind of hesitant about like I didn't know if I wanted to talk about his Mario Maker level on here. Like I didn't know if I wanted to give him the satisfaction of knowing like I just didn't have the patience. I was also in a horrible mood yesterday, so I might give it another shot tonight. But I was just pissed yesterday, and his fucking level didn't help. And
yeah, that seems like the kind of game that you don't want to play when you're angry. I mean, maybe make a level because you're taking your frustration out on other people. You're like, yeah, fuckers, try this.
Like, no Wii U game is like really good for being angry because my instant reaction is to grab it like this and fucking just hit it. Give Nintendo props. Like, even this fucking touchscreen bullshit is really sturdy. It's gone through some shit. Especially with Bayonetta 2. That was another one that, like, I fucking love Bayonetta 2, but that game drove me insane.
That'll be the, like, question. See, you're too smart to break that thing, though, at this point. I was going to say what game will finally push you over the edge, but...
I don't know. I'm not bullshitting. Like, it has nothing to do with smarts. It's completely because if I was smart, I would just stop playing video games and save my fucking money. But I've played game like Metal Gear Solid 5. I punched my fan. Like I have this like fucking little ball fan here, and like I got so mad at it. Like all I could think to do was grab it and.
You need to put it on one of those heavy springs and mount it from your ceiling, so it's like a speed bag. You can just.
Yeah,
but
it fucking hurt. Like I fucked up my hand really bad, and like that's usually how it evens out. Like I have like a bad incident of like break the dumb plastic thing, and then like I hurt myself, and then I don't do it again for a few more months.
Yeah.
Like that's why I try not to stomp on anything. Like I talked about it when I was playing Dark Souls, and like I threw a controller down and jumped out of my chair trying to like stomp it, yeah. And like I fucking tweaked my ankle.
Which is like the most embarrassing thing too, because then you're limping and people are like, "Oh man, what'd you do?"
Well, like,
well,
on one hand, I'm glad like I didn't fucking break my DualShock over such a silly thing, but god damn it, that hurt. And yeah, to be fair, that was the Ornstein and Smo fight, and fuck that fight.
Twitch Plays just beat it though this last week.
Really?
I think, yeah.
Really, I thought that they would be still running into a wall.
Yeah, I don't know how that even works with a game like Dark Souls, but.
Like, I was just reading, like, a week ago about how, like, they're never gonna fucking beat it. It's impossible. Like, and, hey, if they got past Ornstein and Smo, I personally think the rest of the game, difficulty-wise, is pretty much all downhill from there. What's his name? Sith? Or the Scaleless, or whatever? Or the Dragon?
Yeah, I thought Sith or whatever was the wolf.
That was Sif.
Okay. See, a lot of the, I don't know. I get all those things mixed up because I never played through it.
Yeah, that was SIF. I thought Sith the Scaleless was.
Yeah, it was something to Scaleless at least. You're probably right.
I gotta know now. It's gonna fucking bug me.
Oh, you been reading any on Dark Souls 3?
No, but I did get Dark Souls 2 for my birthday as well. So there's that fucking rabbit hole. Apparently Bloodborne wasn't enough.
Well, and Bloodborne's getting its first expansion or DLC soon too.
Yeah, that'll be great.
The Old Hunters, I think it's called.
Yeah.
We'll just sit here quietly while you look up.
Yeah, I gotta know. It's Seath.
Seath.
All right. Seath. Sorry, my phone's a piece of shit. So yeah, I got that. I don't know when I'm gonna play it. I don't know when I'm gonna play anything anymore.
Yeah, because
like
Metal Gear.
Pretty much. Like I mean, like I was telling, I've talked about it with Mario Maker. Yesterday, one of my bosses, like who I get along pretty well with him, and we talk about video games and stuff when we're not working. And he was like, "So Fallout 4 getting close," and I'm like, "Yeah," and I have no idea when I'm going to be able to fucking play it.
I think you'll be done with Metal Fallout's in November, right?
Yeah, I'll be done with it, but I still have pretty much all of The Witcher 3,
That's true.
and I want to beat that. I like that game. It sucks that I had to like make a call here, but like I'm sorry,
Witcher
Metal
is an
Gear's
easier one to take a break from than Metal Gear. I haven't been playing a lot of Metal Gear, but only because, well, two reasons. For me, Metal Gear is one of those games that you can't be like tired or stressed when you go to play it because it demands your attention and patience. But it's also one of those games that you need some time. Like a lot of times I'll sit down and I'll be like, I have about a half hour to play games. I won't even bother starting Metal Gear because I know I won't get anything accomplished in that half hour.
Right.
So if I have a smaller chunk, but one that's that long, I've been playing Heroes of the Storm, of course, because I always play that. And then for whatever reason, I just randomly was like going through my Steam library and decided to fire up this old platformer I had. And it was funny because it was looking at the Steam statistics, which I love. It worked out to be 2 years to the day from the last time I played it. But it's called La Mulana.
Yeah, I am familiar with that.
It's fucking hard. Like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. Now that I've learned, like, the basics of the system, like how things work and whatever, I can kind of explore pretty well without dying. But then I get to these different areas of the temple, and I don't know what I'm supposed to do. There's all these switches that you need to, like, you pick up stones. They're like one of the commodities that drops when you kill an enemy, but they drop very rarely. So I'll be like, oh, I got a stone, and I'll set the switch, and I'll get to the next screen, and there'll be another switch, and I won't have any stones left. And it's like, well, now what the fuck do I do? Like, I don't know. It's hard. It's one of those games that I bet you, if I looked up a guide, it would be like super easy, because at least at this point, none of the things have been like super challenging other than just knowing where the hell to go. So,
yeah.
But for whatever reason, I was just like in the mood to play it. And then once I played it once, that's the one, if I have like 5 minutes to play a game, I'll fire it up and just like poke around and try to figure out what to do next.
Yeah. I bought more shit.
More shit?
For spooky fucking Halloween stream time stuff. Like Steam's having like an Amnesia thing going on.
I saw that. Now, maybe you can answer this to me real quick, because I think I understand it, but I've never grabbed any. Amnesia, A Dark Descent, the first one, it's free, but it said free until whatever. And I've always just taken that to mean you can play it during that period, but after that period's over, doesn't it lock back up? You have to purchase it to keep playing it?
I don't think that's the case with this one.
Because it's not. I guess they usually word those free weekend, and this just said like free.
I think it's saying that it's only free until September 16th, so grab it now.
Which is today, by the way. So.
Yeah. Sorry, lost my train of thought.
I played the demo for that one, and I didn't. Even with it being free, I might, after we do the show, if it's still there, grab it just because it's free. But I don't see myself playing that one.
Yeah, I mean, Steam usually says for like if it's like a lockdown thing, like they just did that with Saints Row.
Right.
Normally it says like you have this much time left to play it. But Amnesia, it was just like, hey, install the game, and you got the game. The idea, I think, was like, hey, this is a free copy of Amnesia, and here's all this other stuff.
Yeah, because that's what, when you click on the link, it says, oh, Amnesia's free until, I guess, the 16th. You click on it, and it's funny, the page it takes you to doesn't say anything about the free original Amnesia. It offers to buy the DLC and then the Machine for Pigs. And
yeah, Machine for Pigs was like $4, so I bought that too. So, and like, that's how I'm kind of going about this, because I like horror games, but I don't want to spend a lot of money on them.
Yeah.
And
Well, especially
like,
because you'll only be able to get to so many of them, like during
mhm,
Halloween, and then
yeah. Um, but I should have a pretty solid little arsenal here for October. Like I got both amnesias. I'm not even for a lot of these games. It's like I have them. I don't even know if I'm going to play them or feel like playing them.
right.
Amnesia is kind of one of those where it's like in this case it was free and then the sequel was really cheap. But I don't know if I'm going to play any of these or how long I'm going to play them. They fit the tone and they were
Right.
cheap.
Well, and that's what's
Uh,
hard for me is because right now I have no desire to play them. I mean, and that's aside from the fact that you've got Metal Gear and Witcher and 1,000 other things to play. It's just I'm not in the mood for those kind of games right now. But I'm anticipating what happened last year, where because I'm like I'm not in the mood to play them yet, but I'm already looking at the calendar like, come on, October, like
yeah,
horror season. And that's what happened last year. Is I don't like horror games, but then all of a sudden that like Halloween switch just flipped, and you're like, well, fuck, I want to play something spooky.
yeah. I love Halloween. Like I love that atmosphere. It's my favorite time of the year. And this is the first time I'll be equipped to like do shit with
Right.
that. Um, Among the Sleep, that game where you play as a baby in the first person, I've heard mixed things about it, but once again, it was cheap. It's horror. Threw it up on the list.
See, you're going the route where you're getting all these cool, like cheap on sale games. The one that I've got my eye on is Soma, and
Yeah,
and that's
I
supposed to. It's not out yet, but it'll come out just in time for all this. Like, I think it's the first or second week of October. It
yeah,
might be the end of September, but anyway.
yeah. It's the end of September. And like right now, you can get it on like GOG or the Humble Store. I think for like $3 off or something if you pre-order it. I'm going back and forth if I should or not because that game actually, aside from fitting the motif of what I'm trying to do here, um, it's also just thematically a game I would be interested in. But it's in that genre, and it's kind of I don't know if it's actually good or not. Should I wait? Do I really want to pay, $30 or whatever for fucking something that isn't actually good? And I probably will because I get paid tomorrow and I'm not responsible.
Yeah.
But it's something I've been going back and forth on for a couple weeks because that would fit and that would probably be an interesting one to do. I also have Home, which is like a pixelated horror.
Oh
I
yeah,
don't actually know much about Home.
as soon as you said that, I was thinking Gone Home, and not
That's
that.
not. Well, I'm sure in some families in America, Gone Home is a horror story.
My
Uh,
daughter's a lesbian. No.
oh, oh God, ah! Yeah,
uh,
she's bringing her girlfriend. Ah! Uh, and then there's Layers of Fear, which I think we talked about on the show.
just that you picked it up, but we didn't talk a whole lot. Have you played it at all, or you just grabbed it?
I just grabbed it. A lot of this stuff I don't want to touch until October. Um, I wish I could like get a better idea of like a schedule. Unfortunately, I only get my work schedule like a week ahead of time,
I hate that. That's what my wife's schedule is.
and so like I wish I could just be like, here are the days I will be, streaming, and here's what I'll be streaming for that entire month. But unfortunately, I have to take it kind of week by week. But yeah, game where you're a painter slowly losing his mind and shit. Well, not slowly, pretty rapidly, but seemed interesting. I don't know if it's good, but it's kind of in that early access phase still, I think. So who knows? Um, and then like a couple of kind of like on the edge a little bit. The Vanishing of Ethan Carter isn't quite a horror game, but it's like a dark
Yeah.
sort of
Oh,
adventure.
definitely. It's a very Stephen King vibe, which and
Yeah.
I would just hands down call it horror. I wouldn't argue that at all. But it's not like jump scare horror. It's
Right.
psychological.
Yeah, and I picked that up, and actually I got they made a new version of it, I guess, the Ethan Carter Redux.
which was
And
really cool. Just to jump in real quick there, they released it. There's some tweaks to the gameplay itself, and there's some. Well, basically, it also jumps to the new Unreal. What is it, 4 engine?
right.
But they didn't announce that they were even working on it, and then it showed up on Steam. But if you had bought the original game, you automatically get the Redux, whatever version.
Redux, yeah.
And but they said for all the advantages, the one disadvantage, I was always impressed with how well Ethan Carter ran on I ran it on my old laptop at like 10 frames a second, but it ran. And for as gorgeous as that game is, that fucking blew my mind. And they said with the Unreal 4 engine, that's the trade-off, is it doesn't work very well on low-end systems. But you still have access to the original one if you need it for that. So that was really, really cool on their end.
Yeah, I thought that was it. Like, cause I just bought the game, and then I was like, what the hell is like? Now I have 2 spots on my Steam, and I'm like, what the hell is Redux? So I'm like looking it up. Is like this a weird update thing I need to like do anything with? And they're like, no, it's just a newer version of the game. I don't. That's a game I've been wanting to play for a long time. And in that respect, I don't know if it's makes for great like horror streaming, like because like I almost feel like I just want to absorb that like by myself.
Well, and that game has a lot of walking around.
Right, but so do a lot of these.
Yeah, yeah.
But
I streamed it. I liked streaming it because it kind of. But that was literally the first thing I ever streamed when I got my new system. I was so excited that I could play that like on high detail instead of on my little crappy laptop. So I had fun with it.
Yeah, that's why it's kind of like on that edge of like if I run out of shit to do, maybe I'll go with that. Another one that's kind of like a throwaway, like it was just dirt cheap, and I know the port sucks, but it might be funny to play for like an hour. Is like Deadly Premonition.
Yeah. I want to play it so bad.
I think like I've played it. I know it's fucking terrible.
Right,
like even if it works.
But
well, I hope one day you get to chase that dream.
There's a bug in the PC version. It doesn't affect everyone, obviously, but it affects my particular system setup, and I don't know how your hardware has anything to fucking do with it. But the inventory is inaccessible. You can't use the inventory. You can't put items in it or take items out of it, which breaks the game immediately because you need to like pick up keys and use that to open doors. So yeah, meh.
So it's a solid port. The other one is
sorry, that was another one I picked up when I had just my laptop because I thought this is a port of an old game. It should run. My laptop's not terrible. No, couldn't run at all. So then months later when I got my actual desktop PC, I didn't go to it right away, but one day I was looking through my library. I'm like, oh, I can probably play this now. And then that bug hit, and it's like, well, fuck you. Like,
yeah, I don't want to play it to the end anyway. But
well, it's almost worth it just to stream the opening to that because it's like the dumbest.
Yeah. The other one, man. I don't know why. I don't know why I sound like I'm gonna die all of a sudden.
I thought you were just like hitting puberty finally.
Hey guys, like I was like I was hanging out with friends before my birthday. My birthday was on Sunday, so I was hanging out with friends Saturday night. To turn this back into the fucking drinking show, got fucking wrecked. Like the worst drunk I think I've ever been in my life. Because there was no, for kids watching, normally when you drink, even on nights where like you get sick or something, there's kind of there's a story arc to it where you start drinking and you're kind of social and everybody's laughing and stuff, and you get a little tipsy and everything's fine, and then you're kind of hammered and it's really funny for everyone else, kind of funny for you, but you're trying to maintain
like this weird, right?
Yeah, you're in your own world, and then you end up you crash, You either pass out or you're vomiting or something. Me and my friend, like, we drank so much, we skipped all that middle shit. Like, hey, everybody, let's have a beer. And then, like, we're right into fucking, like, vomit, blackout. Like, I don't know what the fuck happened. Where, like, it's honestly like I've never, even as sick as I've gotten drinking before, I've never actually like passed out around people. But I was like just like sitting upright asleep. It was like, and like my like another friend comes upstairs. He's like, "Yeah, I came up here. You both were just sitting asleep." And then I was like, "How long have we been here? 2 hours."
That'd be scary. You come up and you're both sitting asleep, and there's just like a handgun sitting on the table. You look like you're both like dead in the chair.
Yeah, it was like your fucking head pops off and rolls on the floor.
Right.
And like, yeah, like my friend, he bought this goddamn beer. Like, it was like being 16 again. Not that I drank when I was 16.
No.
That's wrong. But it was like this like 9% beer that was like fucking really dirt cheap. And we drank it and it tasted horrible. It was one of the worst beers I've ever had. But 9%,
Yeah.
if you have a goal in mind.
Which is amazing to me that you found a cheap 9% beer, because typically as that percentage goes up, the cost of the beer does too.
Yeah, it was really cheap, and I understand why, because it tasted like fucking sewage.
So basically somebody wanted to make a strong beer, and then it turned out tasting like ass. They're like, let's sell it anyway.
Strong enough.
Yeah.
And like, I probably, yeah, like, because when I drink bad shit, like, for the most part, like, I've been drinking a lot of stuff I actually enjoy drinking. But this was a conscious, like, hey, let's get all fucked up and stupid because we're dumb. And, like, I think when I get hit with something I don't like, but I need to finish it, I go really fast. Way too goddamn fast for 9%. Like, I drank it in, like, 2 big swigs. Just like a full can of this goddamn 9%. Did that for 2 of them because we had, like, 8 there. So they got to get drank.
Right.
And yeah, and then I threw up 3 times that night. Terrible way to start off a birthday.
But it's good because that's when you wake up the next morning, like, I'm never doing that again for at least a week or 2.
I actually, oddly enough, it turns out if you throw up 3 times the night you do get drunk, that's your body kind of like stomach pumping you.
Yeah.
And like, and the next day I actually felt okay.
I have a good friend
I had nothing left.
He used to get hangovers really. He was always the first one to pass out too. But he insisted that the next day he would feel like shit until he made himself throw up. And then he was like, oh, and then I'm instantly better. I'm like, yeah, but my goal in life is always to not throw up unless I have to. Like,
oh yeah, I'm the same way. I fucking had to.
Yeah. Kids, you shouldn't drink to the point that you throw up, by the way. And that's a serious point, but
it's
I
hard.
say it with full knowledge that nobody will heed that warning, because
it's a serious point, but it's kind of hard to tell someone that because they don't, because it's not even that like you don't know what that means. You don't when you first start out drinking.
Well, here's the ultimate problem with it is when you start drinking, you're fully cognizant or aware of what you're doing. And then when you start to get drunk, you're fully aware of what you're doing. And then at some magical point after that, you lose all awareness of what you're doing. So when you drink to that point of like throwing up, there is no voice in your head saying, hey, maybe I shouldn't do that, because that's gone way out the window.
Yeah.
Like you're not thinking rationally.
Yeah, well, and I think like what also kind of happens, like I said, when you start out, you have no idea what you're doing. You have no idea like how this is going to affect you. You have to kind of learn like what you can handle and like how fast you can actually handle it. But there's something that also happens to me, especially where I go so long without getting sick that I start to feel fucking bulletproof.
Invincible, yeah.
That's why
I would be screwed because I'm to the point where I drink so... I can't even say so little now because I usually have like a bourbon and Coke almost every night, but which, sounds healthy. But...
break glass.
Right. But I have one drink a night. And then the other night, I was at my parents' house. My dad's funny about this stuff because I get there. My aunt and uncle were in town from Florida, and my brother and his family are all out there. So now it's the last to roll up because nobody fucking called and told me that, hey, we're all getting together. But I pull up, and everybody's got their wine and beers and whatever, and they're drinking. And my dad's like, oh, yeah, there's a good IPA in there. You should have it. And I'm like, no, I'm like, I wasn't in the mood to drink. And I'm like, nah, that's all right. I'm good. And then my uncle's like, oh, you should have some wine or this beer. And I'm like, nah, it's okay. I'm good. And then like 2 minutes later, my dad like comes walking out of his living room with a beer and he hands it to me. He's like, oh, here you go. And I'm like, I didn't want this, but whatever. So I drank it, but it was a single beer. And I think it was not Lean and Kugel. One of those other more common brands, but it was just their IPA. And Lagunitas. But anyway, now I'm dealing with it. We talk about alcohol and both our throats go dry. Like we need a drink.
You feel dehydrated already.
Yeah. But anyway, this one beer, I'm like, holy crap! Like I wasn't drunk, but like when you can feel that buzz after a single beer, I'm like, my drinking game is weak.
Well, that's also the thing about IPAs. Like, me and my friends are taking a pretty substantial break from them. After, like, they used to be all I drank all the time just because, I don't know, that was just beer to me. But they're always the high percentage, and they fucking get to you.
Well, I think that's why he was so insistent that I drink this, is because he knows that IPAs for a while they're the same thing. It was like, it wasn't all I drank, but it was definitely my favorite type of beer. And now I've kind of backed off of it. There's so many bad IPAs out there. Like I like a hoppy beer, but so many of them are just like, oh, here's this bittery, hoppiest taste that we could possibly get.
You want a double dark, smooth pour. I don't want, no, I want to like drink it and be like, wow, like, you can barely taste it. And like, there are other people who like, you want it to taste like fucking black rum? Like, no, dude, you want to pull a goddamn leaf out of this, man? Like, I'd rather not.
Literally chew on the hops.
Squirrels will die if they smell it. You want some of this? So yeah, that was my. Yeah, that was how I.
That's the part that you remember of your birthday, right?
Yeah, it was seriously like, I don't have too many of those stories. Like I have stories of getting really sick and stuff, but I don't have like many times where it's like, oh, I blacked out. Like I don't. I have no idea. Like I don't know what happened for like at least 5 hours that night.
It's probably just
which is really don't fucking.
So this is probably just me because I'm weird and I'm an idiot. But it sounds like one of those nights that like we've all had where like years later I'll be like laying there like, what if I actually died that night and the rest of the stuff after that has all just been like my imagination? Because it's almost like
imagination sucks.
Right. That's what gets depressing about that. It's not the fact that, oh, maybe I died 15 years ago. And this is what I imagined for myself.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, oh, great, there's an afterlife, and it's shit.
Right.
It's made of my own choosing.
The afterlife is just your current life continuing on. Oh crap. But
yeah. So don't fucking do that. I really kind of like felt bad for like because there's always that one friend who like kind of has to take care of the dumb fucking sick people, and I hate, like, I've been on that end of it, and I don't hate it when I'm on that end of it because like they're your friends, you know, it happens. You fucking take care of them, make sure they don't die. But because it happened so sudden, I was like, he didn't even get like the cool part of like us all hanging out. Like we just went to like right to being fucking sick.
Yeah, it happens. But that's what's
Yeah,
funny because when you're drunk, you think you're like the funniest, greatest thing in the world. And when other people are drunk and you're drunk, you think you're all like hilarious and it's all a good time. But when you're the one sober person, it's just like, look at these people keep getting stupider and stupider. Like,
yeah. Well, I don't think that he was completely sober by any stretch.
but he wasn't
But
puking all over the place.
but he was, yeah, he fucking held his shit together. And then like me and like my other friend are fucking basically fighting each other to go throw up in the bathroom. Like just like running over each other.
Yeah.
Fucking animals. Alcohol turns man into an animal.
I kind of think we're already there.
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay. Moving on from our no pumpkin spice beer.
I think we had like two left over from a time before.
That's what made you puke if you drank one of those.
I didn't have one of those.
I just have on my notes written down pumpkin spice, like no explanation, just the words pumpkin spice.
The only upside to that is the next time me and my friends hang out and drink, we can do it for free because we have enough leftover beer.
Well, that's always good. Like,
yeah, because turns out like one case of that 9% shit.
See, back when we partied like that,
put you in a coma.
We were like poor ass college students, so we'd have like, oh yeah, we've got plenty of leftover beer, but it would be like Miller High Life or God, the worst we got like Milwaukee's Best, and if that's the best Milwaukee has to offer, fucking don't live in Milwaukee because.
Oh, that shit's terrible.
It was
like
horrible.
the only big name brand beer that like I will buy, where it's like not a great percentage beer, but like it's very drinkable and a little overpriced, but pretty drinkable. Is like I'll drink Corona occasionally if I want that like kind of light tasting like sort of Mexican beer.
Yeah, for a long time I enjoyed Corona. I haven't had one for a while, and
I don't love it, but it's all right. If you have like just hey you want a beer? It's in the fridge, and like I open the beer and there's like Corona. Like I'm pretty stoked about that. It's worse if you like open it up as like fucking Pabst Blue Ribbon.
Yeah. Well, I'm the only one in this 2-person house that drinks beer, so it's always whatever I buy, and I'm not buying PBR. Although, a couple weeks ago we went out to eat, and they have like a couple cocktails. It's happy hour, but it's like happy hour part 2. It's not like the actual after work happy hour where drinks are like all on sale, but they have a couple of like Long Island and Bahama Mama or something like that. And I didn't want one of those drinks. And so I'm like, well, what's your cheap draft beer? And they're like, PBR. And it's like, it's draft. Like, it's cold and it's beer. It's not exciting, though.
Yeah. Alcohol talk.
That's the sports and alcohol show coming at. Oh. Yeah.
I give Metal Gear Solid 5 fucking vomits out of 5 vomits.
Well, that's what you should have done, is just puked in a trash can and then folded the whole thing back to Mother Base, but...
Oh, I wanted to. I've talked about it on the show, but I want to even like that fucking sick and like that out of it. If I throw up in your bathroom, I'm gonna fucking clean it, man. Like your bathroom's gonna look nice after I'm done there because I feel so terrible. Felt like, oh, I ruined the place where you shit. I'm sorry.
Yeah. That's the funny thing about it is, yeah, it's like, oh, I don't want to leave your bathroom gross. It's like, it kind of is by definition, but no, I get it. The best story, and I wasn't even there for it, but I just had to. It's the people I always partied with. I just happened to be out of town that weekend, and so I can picture it vividly. And I heard the story so many times, but they were doing Jello shots, and one of them got sick off of that, and it was just like multicolored vomit all over the bathroom, like. That makes it even better when your vomit's like colored and physically like stains because it's dye basically. You're puking back up, but it's wonderful conversation.
It turns out that used to bother me, but like it turns out after this last weekend, I think eating Taco Bell and then immediately going into one of those nights, like that was probably the worst vomiting has ever felt in my life.
More and like Doritos Locos Barf, am I right?
And I still believe that Taco Bell like had something to do with it. Those burritos did not taste right, and in retrospect, I fucking knew it.
So the alcohol saved your life. You were gonna die of some kind of horrible Taco Bell food poisoning, and the alcohol's like, nope, let's get this out of here.
Well, that's what I'm choosing to believe. Right. That's a sound theory.
Well, I'm glad you survived your birthday. And happy late birthday, by the way. Your birthday seems to always be on the weekends when I'm not around to like.
Notice.
Sunday particularly, I was like in a really bad mood Sunday, and I had stuff to do, and I don't think I might.
That son of a bitch was born today.
I can't believe
shit in months.
I literally spent the whole day pacing back and forth in my living room here, like, God, I can't believe that happened.
24 years ago today, somebody made a big mistake. Yeah, thank you. It was pretty good. It was kind of weird. This was like the first birthday I've had where I had like a job and stuff. So it was kind of like, hey, we got you this stuff, and like that's cool. I have money.
Yeah. That's the thing.
But anyone who says they don't like getting shit, they're full of shit. I love gifts.
Sure. I like when people
send me some gifts.
But the problem is everybody wants to know, oh, what do you want for your birthday? And we've talked about it. You had the exception to that this year because your brother's awesome. But It's like anything that I want that you would actually like buy me for my birthday, I've probably already bought because I can afford it. And the things that I really want, that because my mom was always like, well, what's something that you want but you'd never buy for yourself? I'm like, I don't really have that filter. If I want it and I have the money, I'll buy it.
I have no filter at all. Like that's why this computer was such a huge gift, is like if I disciplined myself, I could probably have bought it like by October or the end of October if I saved up correctly. I wasn't going to fucking do that.
No.
On any plan, I would fucking buy everything else, just like, hey, Metal Gear Solid 5, and oh yeah, I need a sweater. It's like just fucking Amazon. It was the worst thing that ever happened. If anything, we actually you joked about it, like how much you're going to like, oh, now that you have a computer, you're going to buy so much shit on Steam. Like, I think if anything, I halved my spending by having it, like, by being able to like, oh, I'll buy this game because it's $5.
Yeah.
Instead of being like, I'll buy that game on Amazon because it's $35 instead of $45.
That's where it's hard to tell because the games are cheaper, but you're buying them more frequently, and it probably works out to about the same. Just you're getting more games.
And I don't even, it doesn't, because I'm such a fucking undisciplined piece of shit. Like, I don't even think it's like I think I'm buying games at the same frequency I always have. It's just now I have like the cheaper option. Like, even if I'm just buying a digital title on the PS4, that's $15 or $20.
Yeah.
You know, like.
Of course, and you're probably, because you make it more of a point than me. The other problem I have with Steam is the games are so cheap that there's times where I'll buy a game that I almost literally have zero intention of ever playing. But you're like, oh, I might one day maybe have a small desire to play this, and it's only $2.99. And
yeah, I'm looking at my library right now. Some of this shit, I have no idea when I'm going to play Just Cause 2. But I bought it because I heard it was good. But Quantum Conundrum, I'll probably get to that. That's not too long.
That one's pretty fun from what I didn't play the game, but we demoed it at PAX right before it came out. And it seemed fun, and it's not a real long game. That's the kind of game you could probably knock out in like a weekend if you got bored one week.
It's these like big fucking games like Metro 2033. Seems like tonally seems cool. But I don't think I'm ever gonna finish it. Like I don't think I'll be lucky to start it.
Yeah.
The most I got out of it was I started it up just to see if like my computer could handle it.
I get that a lot where it's just like, well, let's run it and see what it's like. Okay, it works. And then you never touch it again.
Like it showed me what Call of Duty could not, which is that my computer is fine. Um, unlike fucking Black Ops.
Yeah, see, I've got stuff like I closed Steam before we started the show, but I think I have Company of Heroes that was from like a humble sale a long, long time ago. I've got Darksiders, and I like that game, but I don't know if it'll ever restart. I played it a little bit on PlayStation 3. I'm trying to open Steam. I never played 2.
I got this game yesterday. It's a free game on there called You Have to Win the Game. And it's kind of like I talked about it, like the letter V 6 times, or V V V V V, or whatever. It's kind of a game in that style, but it's like well, I guess they're both sort of exploration based. So yeah, it's kind of a game in that style. But I was playing that all day yesterday. It's not a very long game. It's just one where it's like you got to collect a bunch of shit and then beat the game. And I didn't collect everything, but I was getting to the end of the game, and there was like a point where like the game dropped my guy into like this room, and there were 2 ways I could go, and one said go, and the other said lose, and and I thought like if I jumped into lose, it would just kill me or something funny. I jumped into lose. It started me at the beginning of the fucking game without any of my upgrades.
That is what you get for jumping into a pit that says lose. You lost.
Yeah, I lost the fucking game. That was fucking like, if I had paid money, I would be infuriated. But the fact that they did it in their free game is really funny to me.
I forget who. I know I follow the guy that made that on Twitter, but I forget who that was. And it's funny because I always feel like a little guilty when I follow somebody on Twitter and then don't play their games when they come out. But like realistically, there's so many people that I know, not know like personally or anything, but that you interact with that make games that I couldn't possibly play them all.
Yeah, it was Minor Key Games who made it, and it was a guy named J. Kyle Pittman who apparently made the game.
Well, you have to win it, so you're gonna. I
guess there's like some like new version of it or something that, like you do pay for. Yeah, Super Win the Game.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if I'll fucking play that, but I give them props. The first game was really funny. If I couldn't go back and actually like win the game, though, I'm not giving you fucking $8.
I'm just looking through my library and all that. I'm not going to go through all these. I have 151 games on here. What's amazing to me about Steam, we've talked about it before, and it's why I like it, is some of these things, like I go on here and I've got Day of Defeat Source, and I never bought that. I must have at some point. I think that came, though, as part of like the Orange Box or something back when like Half-Life 2 first came out. Some of these games in my library date back to like early 2000s. Or maybe 2005, but literally everything that I've ever bought on Steam since it became a thing is there for me to replay if I want to.
Even before I got this computer, I was looking at my library and just thinking, like, what the fuck is Red Orchestra 2?
Yeah.
And why do I own it? Like, but it's been there for a long time. I've had Left 4 Dead 2 on here forever. Yeah, and that's kind of nice. It's kind of nice that, like, if you just get a Steam account, even if you don't have the computer ready, it's nice to know that like you can start building up that library without spending a dime. And then when you do have a computer, you can be like, "What the fuck? I own like 5 games. This is awesome."
And some of them are really good. I imagine that Red Orchestra and Day of Defeat and stuff don't have they're multiplayer mods from Half-Life 2 that kind of became their own standalone things. Red Orchestra was fantastic, and so was Day of Defeat. But I imagine that there's probably not a huge player base now for them.
I don't believe that for anything anymore. Like, I mean, like Counter-Strike Source is still, the shit. And then there are people who like, oh, you've got to play the original Counter-Strike. Like, I think
anything that I have to like go out of my way to like mod my computer to play that because it's so old. Like I don't think there's a regular Steam version of the original Counter-Strike. Maybe there is.
I don't know if it's like the original. I do know that Steam sells a Counter-Strike pack with pretty much every Counter-Strike game made on it. Original Counter-Strike, $9.99.
Huh. Well,
yeah, and you could also get the complete pack for $99.99.
Yeah, well, that's
not just Counter-Strike. That's every Half-Life 2 game ever made. All the Portals, everything. Wow, pretty much everything Valve has ever done.
Right. It's funny though. I would have a hard time paying $10 for original Counter-Strike since I played it. We played the shit out of it back when it was out, but it was a free mod for Half-Life. Like, so it was free back then, but now I have to pay $10 if I want to play it now that it's 13 years out of date or more.
Also,
more than that. That game's got to
also,
be like
you can get Source or Global Offensive. Like, oddly enough, Counter-Strike Source is $20,
really?
which I got for free with Half-Life 2.
Yeah, that's what's weird about that. Because I think if you own Half-Life 2, you automatically own Source. So.
And then Global Offensive is $15. I don't know. I don't know if that's on sale or.
I think that was the normal price. I think that's what I paid for it. I had it on. I might have got a review key now that I think about it. I played it on 360 because when Go came out, it launched on PC and 360. If you're going to play it on PC if you can. Much better, but anyway, I think that just got some updates today, but neither of us play it enough to know about that. The only other like game stuff I had written down, one I know you won't care less about, but Destiny: The Taken King came out this week. The first like major first major expansion. It's supposed to be good if you like Destiny, I guess. I don't like Destiny. You don't play Destiny, so yeah.
I heard it was very different.
From what I hear, there everybody says, "Oh yeah, basically fixes all the things that I had complaints about with the vanilla version." It's like, well, that's good, but I don't have a way to play it anyway because the Destiny I played was the 360 version, and I don't think Taken King came out on the last gen. I think that's just new gen only.
I don't know.
I don't care because I don't have any plans on playing it. But
yeah.
The other news that you probably didn't pay attention to, but because it just kind of hit late this afternoon, and I don't think it's something that's going to be like super important to you. But Deep Silver canceled the Dead Island Epidemic or whatever, the MOBA Dead Island game that they had in early access. And I don't care cause I do like MOBAs, but I never touched that one. I had no interest in it. What's interesting, though, is that comes on the heel. So that means it's an early access game that got canceled before it's ever seen the light of day. So it's not going to get released. Homefront recently got delayed into next year. Some point within the last year, they've kicked developer Jaeger off of Dead Island 2. There's just been some like mostly bad news coming out of Deep Silver. And
foreshadows like some potentially going wrong for a lot of these things.
And if you extrapolate that out, Deep Silver had some early success, and their big out of the park stuff was Saints Row. And then right after the like success of Saints Row and in the fall of THQ, there is when they bought Homefront and whatever. But Deep Silver went on this huge like buying up spree of like we're doing this and this and this. We're buying up this developer and taking over this, and now all of a sudden everything seems to be going rapidly downhill. And I don't know. We don't have any insider information. It's just going off the headlines. But yeah, it makes you wonder, did they bite off way more than they could chew? It seemed like they were one of those middle of the road publishers, kind of like THQ ended up in. And they were trying to use that opportunity to kind of launch themselves into the conversation of being a major publisher. And I don't know if that is working out. Hopefully it is. I know most of us in the industry like Deep Silver they treat writers real well. They have some really cool properties, but it doesn't look good if you just.
It's funny you were telling that story, and I was just reading a thing like the next Sonic the Hedgehog game delayed to 2016 due to quality concerns.
Yeah.
Where the fuck were those concerns like 10 years ago? 20?
Destructoid, I think, or Giant Bomb. Somebody posted that article yesterday in their tweet, whatever, link to the article, had this picture accompanying it that was like probably the most perfect picture and lead combination I've ever seen, because it said that, it's just said Sonic delayed into 2016 over quality concerns. And then there was just like this picture of Sonic tied up like with a volleyball net or something to a tree, and like the rest of the gang all in the background like posing for a picture and celebrating, but Sonic just had this look on his face like the most like sarcastic, like, yeah, quality control, like
fuck, man, like, because they're still in the Sonic boom thing right now, so it's like, is there quality concerns? Like, are you actually concerned about that, or like is that just because that's been the criticism of almost every Sonic game recently, or like hell, most of them since like the 3D era? Like, the reviewers have been saying this could have been a good game if they gave it more time. Like, so are you just doing that, or like do you actually know what needs to be fixed? Like, it's hard for me to have faith in anything.
Like, is it going to get delayed for quality and come out and be better, or is it so bad that they need this extra time to get it to the bad point that all the other releases were at? Like well, Sonic actually has 6 legs for some reason right now. Like, we can't figure it out, and you can't jump.
Yeah,
he mostly just sits there and whatever.
Fucking makes fucking.
I have no interest in Sonic to begin with. We've talked about this on the show before, but Sonic has that like special place in history just because he was Sega's first iconic character.
Well, he's the only one who was willing to get in the ring with Apollo, which is Mario.
Right.
Like, he's the only guy who you could make that claim went head to head with Mario. Now, people who really think about it will probably agree it wasn't much of a fight because Mario's fucking awesome and Sonic is just all right at best.
I know at the time when the Sega came out, the original Sega Genesis, Sonic is the game that made me want Sega so bad because it seemed to do so much more than what Nintendo could do.
Right.
It doesn't hold up, even going back, a lot of people are complaining, oh, the Sonic games have all sucked lately. Oh, it's such a classic and they butchered it. It's like, anytime I've gone back and tried to play them, they're just okay platformers.
Like if I go back and play Mario, like the first Mario, obviously, that's, just sort of a nostalgia trip. But if I go back, play Mario 3 or Mario World or something, all those games feel right, Playing Mega Man Legacy Collection, the fucking controls are snappy. Like, those are timeless games to me. Sonic is far from fucking timeless. Like, it's okay. Like, it's still playable and stuff, and you can get your Sega nostalgia trip on with it for a little while. but it's nowhere near as polished or as crisp as those games are.
No, as a character for the time, it had two things going for it because it was showing off some pretty cool hardware compared to the Nintendo, which is what I was coming from. Even though I get fuzzy on my timeline because back then it wasn't when systems came out; it was when I was finally able to get one, which was often years after they came out. But so Sonic, compared to what I had been playing on the NES, was amazing. But it also was way better marketed for kids. You know, I would have been 8, 9, 10 or so when it came out. And Sonic was this kind of like in-your-face, fast, like modern character. And Mario's like some weird plumber that like, you know, nothing against him. I loved Mario at the time and you still do. But it's not like nothing about Mario screams like to kids like, yeah, Mario. I guess now he's got the cultural, he's so embedded in that. But
yeah, it's kind of weird. Like he's not even Mario doesn't even have like a mascot role so much anymore. I mean, he's always the mascot for Nintendo, but Nintendo doesn't need like, you know, some guy in a Mario suit coming out and hugging kids or anything because it's Mario. And
right.
If you advertise a Mario game, people are going to buy it. They're going to be like, all right, fucking Mario.
He's one of those characters, and Sonic is to an extent, but Mario you can show to anybody almost anywhere in the world, even if they've never played a video game in their life, and they know, hey, that's Mario. You know, Sonic, it's got that recognition, but if I showed Sonic to my parents, they wouldn't know.
I mean, there are probably some fucking assholes out there who would be like, when I say the word video game, what do you think? You know, and they'll be like, oh, I think fucking Dota or something. Man, recording on Twitch, we know our audience. But I think for most people who are not like, you know, way into games and don't have like their favorites that immediately jump to mind when they hear that, you know, I think most people in the world will be like Mario.
Yeah.
You know, I think Mario. I think some form of Mario.
You know, Pac-Man, maybe Donkey Kong. You know, but Mario's probably.
But even when you think Donkey Kong, you think fucking Mario, really.
We do. Like, I know some of the people in the generation, like my parents' generation, know Donkey Kong not from Mario, but from the Donkey Kong cabinet. But
I'm sure. What was the difference? Like, didn't they?
Well, Mario wasn't really in the cabinet. It's like, yeah, Mario's the character. I don't know if they ever really reference that though. It's just he's the like sprite.
Well, he was Jumpman, and then Jumpman, like he was Jumpman in that, and then after that they gave him the name Mario. Yeah. And
Mario apparently was been confirmed, which I didn't know. Mario. Yeah, I they were doing something where some Nintendo guy, I forget which one, was answering long-held questions about Mario, the universe, and one of them was he confirmed it's Mario, which was funny because I kind of thought that had been confirmed like 20 years ago, but...
Yeah, I thought that was always the case, and I've been joking about it forever. I get, like, weird, like I enjoy little trivia like that, which means nothing. Like, I thought it was really interesting when, like, somebody... I don't remember who was doing an interview, and he said Wario and Waluigi. I don't know if you know, but Purple Guy and all the spin-offs and stuff. Yeah. Like, they're not brothers. Really? They're just he confirmed it in an interview. He's like, these are just, I like to think they're just two fucking angry dudes who found each other. And,
no, I always assumed they were like the evil twin brothers of Mario and Luigi.
Well, they kind of
experiment gone wrong.
Well, they are kind of like evil doppelganger things, and like that was the original idea with Wario, and obviously Waluigi. There is that parallel, but I thought it was interesting. That's like they're actually not related. They just happen to both hate these other two quite a lot, and I thought that was really interesting and weird that like they thought that much about it. Where it's like, well, let's not make them brothers, because because then it gets fucking confusing. Then it's the fucking Super Wario Brothers.
It's weird that we haven't got like evil doppelganger princess yet, or Peach. You know, well, there's
Daisy, but Daisy, she's more Luigi to.
Well, right, and that's what. Yeah, but those are characters that could use some evil
Yeah.
analogs.
I don't know if that's true. I think people hate Waluigi so fucking much that it's like you probably shouldn't
Isn't
push
that
that button.
funny though? Like people seem to love Wario, and I do. I don't have anything against Wario, but then
I fucking
Waluigi,
love.
it's yeah. Waluigi,
I,
though, you're like, that's too much.
I liked Waluigi as a kid, and now like because people get so annoyed with him, I like him even more because he's just like people just fucking hate like how useless of a character he is.
Yeah,
Um, I I argue that Yoshi is way fucking worse.
yeah.
I want Mario riding on Waluigi in the next game. I don't want fucking Yoshi. That was another thing. That was another problem with your level, Derek. You had fucking Yoshi in it.
Mm.
That's your fucking. That's.
I guarantee Derek loves Yoshi. That's probably one of his favorite characters.
Well, I bet happy people usually do, and I am not a happy person, and I know Yoshi sucks. See the world through cruel, cynical, realistic eyes, and you'll know that dinosaur can fuck off.
Man, there was something else I was going to bring up, but kind of forget. I enjoyed the like 30 seconds that the EA buying CD Projekt Red rumor was out there.
That was
like,
a fun rumor, man.
It was.
Like, I didn't believe it was true, gonna happen
because
at all.
it has all the hallmarks of a rumor. You take the one company in the world that you couldn't possibly imagine selling out to the other company that, I mean, they're the polar opposites.
Yeah, they're the devil with the contract or whatever that you can't get out of.
And the funny thing is, I didn't think much of it because, I mean, you read that and it could be true. I mean, it can happen. Money is money. If EA came by and they're like, we're going to give you $5 billion to buy, they'd be an idiot to say no. But
I mean, anyone who's old enough to remember, like, the Rare getting picked up by Microsoft was a huge, like, what?
Right.
Rare's not making Nintendo games? Like,
not only that, but it's they're not making Nintendo games. They're working for competitor Microsoft, and they're making Avatar stuff. And like,
yeah, like that was that. Well, I mean, they had their bit there with the original Xbox, and then they got pushed to Avatar duty. But yeah, that was, and like you're playing like Conquer on the Xbox. It was just weird.
Yeah.
So the idea that it could have happened, I didn't think it would because CD Projekt Red is just so like outspoken. Like the stuff they stand for, and that was my joke I made on Twitter. Is like, oh, no, the last bastion for shit in boxes is like gone because EA is not gonna let you fucking package up a map and a CD and everything and
for free, yeah,
free
like, DLC, and I mean, they're really polar opposites. But I never really thought much of the rumor until you made the analogy of like, well, it's like you're picturing the two companies like on an awkward like first date or blind date,
right.
And that to me was just the greatest thing in my head because you're just picturing them sitting there like CD Projekt Red's intimidated by this. I mean, they're big, but someone like EA is one of the biggest publishers there is. So I imagine there's that little bit of intimidation there, and just like EA is being a complete dick to them, like ordering for him, like, oh, she'll have the salad because we're not going to splurge on that.
Yeah, it's like a really awkward business meeting. So what do you think would you could add that would help the Witcher franchise? Well, first of all, we can take out all that shit that people like, because that's expensive.
Can we turn the potions into microtransactions? Like do away with alchemy altogether, but you'll buy the potions.
What if you have to put down a fee to take on a quest?
Gwent, we're gonna actually make you buy packs of cards.
How about
would probably go for that? But
how about characters randomly put on bras for the sex scenes?
Yeah, but I was just like picturing CD Projekt Red trying to make small talk and being like, "So, what do you think about games?" And EA just being like, "Oh, we hate them."
Whatever.
It's like, oh, okay, well, but the fans, they're pretty cool, right? No, we hate them. They're dicks. It's like, oh,
so what are you into? Money.
Do you have any?
Do you have
it?
Can we have? Can we have your money? Yes. We would like to cut you a check for all your money.
So that was interesting. But like you said, with the rare thing, or in a world where Microsoft buys Minecraft for $2 billion or however much that was made, it might have just been $1 billion, and then Facebook buys Oculus Rift for $2 billion. It's like anybody buys anything for any reason. I don't.
Yeah. Bizarre things happen when like really ambitious, well-meaning people are doing something successfully, and there's a big company wanting in on it.
Well, because I mean, put it that way. Say EA was able to offer $1 billion to CD Projekt Red to buy him out. I couldn't begrudge them for taking that offer. Like, which one of us would be like, nah, I don't want $1 billion. Like, yeah, we love games, we love our fans, but I don't love $1 billion.
Well, it'd be, yeah, I mean, that would be, you would at least have to fucking think about it, because it's like, that's life-changing, if you're smart, life-securing amount of money.
And it has a lot to be said for saying, hey, my family and my kids and my kids' kids and probably my kids' kids' kids will never have to worry about. So, and I'm not saying that if they offered him something like that, they would automatically take it, because who knows? There are people out there that would rather stick to.
If I were in their position, I would have to think about it. Like, to me, it's like, you know, where we are right now, I'll fucking do anything for $1 billion, anything. But like, if they were, you know, they put their hearts into, like, you know, that series, and, you know, they sort of built this thing up, and it's successful now, and they have more momentum than ever to keep doing what they're doing. You have to ask yourself, like, do I want to, you know, cut and run a little bit? Like, you could still be a part of it, but it's like, do I want to hand the reins off to this thing to, you know, or do I want to keep building my own?
And a lot of people say, well, screw it, take the money and then just go form a new studio. But most of the time, those deals have non-compete clauses that don't let you do that. But
well, yeah, you can't just jump and make a new, like, the Bewitcher.
We're CD Projekt Blue.
Yeah,
I like that idea though. But so that was interesting. But you just brought up one last that has nothing to do with video games. We'll go in a circle here and end back on sports. But is Hardy? I forget which player it is now.
Greg Hardy.
The Rockets with the beard.
Oh, James Harden.
Harden, duh. You can tell I'm a basketball guy. But apparently that was one of the stories that they were talking about all day today that I thought was kind of funny, because it's one of those stories that it's like, hey, rest of the world, welcome to the internet. But apparently he just signed a new deal with Adidas. But there was some pictures that came out of him, you know, walking around town in Jordans, and Adidas came out and said, hey, you're going to need to stop wearing those. Technically his contract, I guess, doesn't start with Adidas until October 1st. But I guess a lot of people came out and they're like, oh, look at this, you know, fuck you, Adidas. You're so evil. This big organization trying to control what he does, like, on his free time. And it's like, well, they're paying him $200 million to represent Adidas. If somebody's paying me $200 million, they can tell me that I have to wear a tutu to work every day.
Yeah, that's a good point. Like, I mean, on one hand, I don't want to be, like, told, like, if I was him, and I'm wearing Vans and I'm just hanging around the house, don't fucking tell me to wear your dumb shoe. But you do have to look at it on that level where you're not getting paid for free. Like, even those sponsorship deals, that is a job on some level.
Exactly. Well,
so, and your job is to represent that product.
And this point was brought up because Adidas even really talked about it, because they're like, I think some people were pointing out, well, Aaron Rodgers doesn't wear, you know, his shoes. Well, his deal specifically, they have two lines. They have his, you know, on-court line that he'll, of course, have to be wearing while he's playing. But they specifically have, like, a casual wear, you know, everyday wear line in his name. And that's obviously what they would rather him wear than, well, not rather them. They're fucking paying him to not wear Jordans and wear those. Now, I mean, I can't see them, like, swooping in with a SWAT team, like you said, if he's at home wearing Vans or something. And they probably wouldn't have cared if he was seen walking around town in something like that. The problem with the Jordans is that's the like direct. That'd be like Coke paying us $1 million to be the official sponsor of our show. Then I'm sitting here drinking a Pepsi, like
like that soda I was drinking,
right.
Like just like, hey, this is delicious, and not Coke.
And the other thing is, they're like, oh, they're so evil. I'm like, I guarantee this was all in the terms of the contract he signed in order to get the $200 million. So, like, if he didn't want to abide by it, he could have turned the deal down.
And then he would be, that would be stupid,
right?
Because it's like, even when I say that, like, you know, even if like if they hardballed me on it, then fine, I'll wear your fucking Adidas in my house. Because it's fucking $2 million.
$200 million.
200. Like, I'll do it for $2,000.
Right. I mean,
as long as you, I'll do it for $200 if you give me the shoes.
And in fairness,
I'll do it for $2.
From what I've heard, have heard nothing about Harden arguing or complaining about them wanting him to do this. This is all just people reading the article, like reacting on his behalf, which. Surprise, he does not need you, the random sports article reader, to like defend him, because I'm sure he can take care of himself with that $200 million that's in his pocket now. Plus,
I mean, if he has a problem with it, he doesn't have to take that deal,
right?
But
and I doubt he has a problem with it. It's everybody else that does, which is always funny to me when people are up in arms about something that the person involved in the story doesn't care about. Like,
I know, I didn't. Like, to me, because it's such a non-issue, like, I don't care. I don't know why the company's making a big deal about it, but I mean, I think you are right. Like, it's a job,
right?
You're getting paid to do something, so you have to do that thing. So and fuck you, man, what a great job.
Yeah, I know.
God, I wish I could just get paid to wear people's shit.
Probably.
LA Clippers, hit me up.
Yeah. Fuck, for $200 million, I'd probably literally wear people's shit if they asked you to. Like, depending on how long you had to. Like,
hey, here's how much, like, I'm such a diehard sports fan. Bullshit. You pay me enough fucking money, I'll wear a Cowboys jersey.
Well, yeah, I hate the Cowboys, but that's because nobody's paying me
I love money more.
Right.
So
freaking Cowboys.
So that's my message. Drink too much and love money to an unhealthy degree that you sell out your principles.
We're all about morals around here. So
this has been the Njoystic Live.
Yeah. Oh, now we actually have somebody chiming in chat on the last possible second. And their question is, would you wear Seahawks? I assume I'm interpreting this right. Would you wear a Seahawks jersey if you were paid to do so?
Yeah, we can negotiate. It depends on the player. It depends on the amount.
I think the real line, because you could wear a Seahawks jersey and just have that look on your face like, I got a Seahawks jersey on. Would you enthusiastically call yourself the 12th man? And while wearing Seahawks apparel for like $100,
everybody has a price, and mine is very low. So, I mean, honestly, they're actually I hate more than I hate the Seahawks. I hate Seahawks fans.
Yeah.
So throwing my lot in with them, like, I can wear the jersey and be like, oh, I just like Richard Sherman, and then.
I think, though, if I'm going to have to pay you for something Seahawks related, it would be to go to a Seahawks game.
God.
Go to the middle of the rowdiest section and stand up and say, I hate Seahawks fans, and just see if you can get out of there. It'd be like Escape from New York or something. Like,
I could get out of there alive. I might take a few punches. I told you about, I went to the A's game, an A's Mariners game. Fucking A's lost, and I didn't say shit, and I was getting yelled at just for being an A's fan.
Yeah.
I
heard something about Niners fans beat who the fuck they play? I already forget. Eagles, wasn't it?
On Monday? They
Yeah.
played the Vikings.
Oh, the Vikings. Yeah. Okay. I don't know why I was thinking the Eagles play. Well, they both played Monday. That's why. But I heard that some Niners fans beat up a Vikings fan, and it's like, you guys won. Like,
That's yeah.
not that it's really justified if you lose, but still, like, the extra doesn't make sense to me. It's kind of like how around here fans riot in the streets if the team loses a championship, but if you win, they riot in the streets. And it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, well, for as someone who's related to 49er fans, I know they're fucking crazy and irrational.
Yeah.
2 + 2 = 3 in their world. So watch your step.
Heard some bad stories about Browns fans too, and that's just funny to me because what's there to be mad about? It's not.
And everyone knows the Eagles threw rocks at Santa Claus. So, like, Eagles fans, we're fucking terrible people
Santa Claus
too.
is a dick anyway, though.
Like,
There's so many toys I asked for growing up that he never brought.
Yeah.
He deserved it.
Fuck him. Can't even make an Xbox.
Screw this
Piece
one
of
Santa
shit.
Claus impersonator, like there's a real one, but screw this one Santa Claus in particular.
I love in like movies and stuff like that, like they're modern day depictions of Santa Claus and his like factory and shit, but he's still making like the crappy like wooden toys of like
Here's a wooden
16.
train in my factory.
It's like, Santa, you're a dick. My dad makes more money than Santa.
Oh well. So I guess that does it for the podcast this week. I may try to stream something tomorrow. I don't think I streamed anything last week.
No, I think you took that off.
Yeah. Problem is we've been playing Metal Gear, and that's one that I just want to play. I don't want to stream and play.
But yeah, hopefully maybe tomorrow, maybe Friday. I might try to do some Mega Man streaming. Finish up the games I need to finish up there, 4, 5, and 6.
And we will get episode 2 of our Metal Gear spoiler cast in too. So if you're playing that or just don't care about spoilers, hell, we might even do that tomorrow. Who knows? That's the one that we kind of ninja like sneak in there on people. It's just like, oh yeah, we're hanging out. I'm live spoiler cast right now.
Yeah. Well, I don't have much going on tomorrow, so tomorrow will be good for that. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Show's done.
I don't have anything left to add, but thanks for watching and check us out at all that stuff down there. You see it.
Yeah, there's fucking links.